yesterday, but my iMovie didn't want to process that video. It was 35 minutes long. It was about the same length as the one that I made the first time around. But since iMovie is starting to mess with my head a bit, I'm just going to try and keep these videos a bit more compact. So I'll just try. I want to go in depth still with everything. I don't want to cut anything off, so I might just cover less things per video and just have more videos rather than trying to smash everything together. So with that being aside, I'll just get into it. So as discussed in the last video, I did want to run through a bit more of the more, I wouldn't say useful, but the more interactive, I guess, redstone blocks. So last episode we covered redstone dust, repeaters, comparators, that sort of stuff. This episode I'm going to just cover pistons, buttons, levers and stuff. So I'll just get into that now. Let's start with buttons. I think buttons will be the nice one. Buttons and levers. So in a nutshell, there are two different types of buttons, two distinct types of buttons. You got your stone buttons, which are, I believe, stone and blackstone. These buttons output a pulse length of 1 second or 10 redstone ticks. You can see there, you can count to 1. That's basically all you need to do. And then all of the wooden buttons, I believe, output a signal of 1.5 seconds or 15 redstone ticks. So if we press them both simultaneously-ish. I'm shit at this. My hand-eye coordination is not up to par. But you will see if you watch this redstone. That's 1.5 seconds there. That's 1 second there. Personally, I would only use stone buttons. Stone buttons are like a fairly I guess they're conventional, with lack of a better word. I think Cactus has used wooden buttons before, on one of his weird crimson cannons, where he likes to use crimson wood for some reason. But I guess one of the main reasons why stone buttons are nicer to work with is they're a nice round number. They're 10 redstone ticks, as well as the fact that they work off these comparator clocks more nicely. One of the big limitations about the extended pulse length of the wooden button is if you have a comparator clock like this, the wooden button means it's actually going to cycle twice. Whereas with the stone button, it's only going to cycle once. Now, just note that this only applies to certain speeds of clocks. So this clock here, this is 1, 2, 6. This is 1.2 seconds. So you got 6 ticks to turn on, 6 ticks to turn off, 1.2 seconds. You'll see that this stone button only pulses at once. However, when I switch to the wooden button, you should see that it actually pulses it twice. That second pulse is very brief, but it still does pulse it twice. So basically, any cannon auto speed above, I think, 1.6 seconds is fine. You can use either button. Anything below 1.6 seconds down to like 1.1 seconds, you should just use a stone button. And anything below that, you'll need to use a different type of clock. Won't worry about those different types of clocks for the time being, but just note that stone buttons are generally easier to work with, and they're more conventional. So I'd say 99% of the community will be using stone buttons. So that's the main difference between the two. We'll get into levers very quickly as well, while we are working with these interactive blocks to turn your cannon on and off. Levers are nice and easy. You flick it on, it will remain on until someone else or you flicks it off, and it will remain off until it's flicked back on. So it's got two states. It's got off and on. Pretty simple. That's pretty much it for levers. Generally, this is why I like this comparator setup here, because you do have the option to single fire a cannon with the button press, as well as you also have the option to auto the cannon off a lever as well. So that's why I like this little setup here with the comparator based clocks. With that's pretty much all I want to cover with buttons and levers. So I'll just hop straight into. I might actually leave pistons for their own little video, because I do want to keep these videos nice and concise. So let's have a look. What can we work with? We'll work with dispensers and droppers, I guess. So the dispensers are going to be the main things you're going to be using your cannons, or cannons will be using. Probably, maybe the second most common block in a cannon will be your dispenser. Pretty simple. You put TNT in it, it's going to fire TNT. Anything that the dispenser can fire, it will fire. So that's mob eggs, arrows, eggs, TNT, splash potions. Anything that a dispenser can fire, it's going to fire. The main difference between a dispenser and a dropper is that the dropper drops everything. Dispensers, if they can dispense an item, they will dispense an item. If you, say, put a stone block or something in a dispenser, it'll just drop it like a dropper. But if you put an arrow in a dispenser, it's going to fire it. If you put an arrow in a dropper, it's just going to drop it on the ground in like an item form. So that's those two there. And let's see, I'll cover target blocks and note blocks as well while I'm here. So note blocks are used, well, they produce sound when you put a redstone pulse in it. I guess that's the main feature of the note block. You don't really use it. Doesn't look like you can change the sound complex here. But for the most part, you put redstone in, it's gonna make a noise. Depends on what block it is. It's kind of besides the point. You're not gonna be fucking playing musical tunes with your cannons. But they stop something called budding, basically. There are several quirks about dispensers with regards to budding them. Budding also applies for pistons as well, which I'll actually cover. I'll cover more in depth in the next video, but as just a very, very quick showcase, I guess, this, yeah, complex is weird. You can't actually place blocks on top of note blocks. I'm not sure why that's the case, but actually, I'm pretty sure if you run a redstone line on the top here, you'll see that the bottom dispenses fire as well. So if we TNT fill, say, 576, 50 bank, if we actually fire this, you should see, yeah, see that 63 TNT there? It just, it fired it from the bottom dispensers as well. So I'll just show that again, since my little test rig is now gone because it's gone into pieces. That there will actually, it'll block update the dispenser on the bottom there, and will actually fire this dispenser as well. Same goes for pistons. I'll cover this very in depth in the next video, because it happens for dispensers, but it's going to occur much more commonly, and you're going to understand it a lot more better with pistons, which I won't cover here. And just very quickly for the last one, I'll just cover target blocks as well. So basically, target blocks are pretty much inert. They don't really serve any purpose apart from shooting arrows into them. But if you're going to use a cannon, you're not going to be shooting arrows into the target blocks, because you will end up blowing your own cannon up, most likely. But the neat quirk about target blocks is they actually pull redstone into them. So you can see here that the target block is actually pulling a redstone signal into it. So you can actually use the target block to branch off redstone like that without needing redstone there. So say if you need this to be a solid block for whatever reason, you can use this as a target block instead of needing, say, redstone there. So that's the main purpose of target blocks, is actually physically pulling the redstone signal into them. And again, I covered this last time, sort of, with like soft and hard powering. This is soft powered, so that means that the repeater's actually going to pick up the signal from it. So when I fire that, you'll see that this repeater lights up, and that's just purely because there's a target block here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So next time I'm going to cover, I'll cover budding in depth, as well as pistons, sticky pistons. I'll cover observers there as well. So they'll be the other blocks that I'll cover. I'll cover slime and honey blocks with the pistons as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. I did record this on a Tuesday, or not a Tuesday, sorry, a Monday, just after work, because I did find that like when I tried to sort my little recording software out this morning, it just wasn't processing the file. So I'm hoping it's something to do with file size, and this will upload fine. So yeah, I'll catch you all later then.